Hey, this is Jared, and today we're going to be talking about leadership, Christian leadership. How do you find your specific type, and how do we develop that leadership ability? Let's get to it. All right, this one's a winner. We're geared up, ready to go. Now, of course, happy VLOGtober, everybody. This is actually day 3 of VLOGtober, and I got my pumpkins out. I'm just going to try and put out a video every day, so this is part of that. And today we're going to be talking about leadership, and especially in the Christian sense. How do we as Christians develop our leadership potential, and how do we find out what our style of leadership is so that we can go deep into that style? We don't want to be wasting effort on something that we're not good at or that we're not gifted in. And so to help us along, I've been reading this book. It's called Courageous Leadership. It's by a guy named Bill Hybels. And of course, it was written at the turn of the millennium, about 2003, I think. And he talks a lot about Christian leadership and being courageous in our leadership roles. So when you have influence and when you have a sphere of leadership, really living into that, I'd like to talk a little bit about that, and maybe also it will give you some insight into your specific leadership style and how to develop that as an individual. So in one of the chapters in this book, he outlines 10 leadership styles that we're going to be discussing, and I'll just briefly outline those styles and maybe give you a sense of which one you most align yourself with. And I think that'll be very, very useful and valuable for those of you who are listening and watching. Try and listen carefully for maybe something that clicks in your brain, maybe something that you relate directly to, either the title or some of the descriptions that I give about these leadership styles. And go ahead, if you can, and grab a piece of paper. Maybe you're on your phone, and you pull out the Notes app on your phone, and you just punch in, number whatever, and maybe the title of that leadership style. And then try and pray and think over that and see if really that is the type that you are. And I think that'll be very valuable for us to really think deeply about, okay, be self-aware about these leadership abilities. So without further ado, I'm just going to list them out and then going to talk a little bit about the different types here. So number 1 out of 10 is the visionary leadership style. Now this one is about is for people who shamelessly appeal to anybody and everybody to get on board with their vision. They talk about it, they write about it, they burn white hot for it themselves. These are the kinds of people who are obsessive about a vision in their head. It's the type of people who are the on earth as it is in heaven. That's that kind of leadership that we're talking about. You have a clear vision and you're going toward it, and everything you do is blinders on, going for that, to make that vision a reality. Number 2 is directional leadership. And this leadership is primarily about decision points. It's something's happening and we've got to either go left or go right, say yes or say no. And these type of leaders are able to see to the nth degree into the future and decide on the correct course of action. Directional leadership, that's number 2. Number 3, strategic leadership. These are people who are able to take a vision and break it down into specific steps that can be taken. Sequential steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, in order to make that vision a reality. They have the gift of organization and are able to march intentionally toward the realization of any particular mission. It's pretty cool. Number 4, this is managing leadership style. It's funny because the book calls it an oxymoron leadership style. But of course we know that it's all about people who are bringing order out of chaos. This is the kind of person who finds satisfaction in monitoring processes and people. It's about motivating team members and establishing mile markers on the road to destinations. It's about getting things done, managing. That's number 4. Number 5, motivational leadership style. These people have the God-given ability to keep the team members fired up. They are able to give motivational either objects, if their love language is gift giving, or words of affirmation maybe, or acts of service, that in a moment of burnout they're able to give life into somebody. That's motivational leadership, number 5. Here's number 6, shepherding leadership style. These are the type of leaders that come alongside team members and are intentional about nurturing relationships. Their primary objective is to bring people into the fold and to develop them and give them life in a way that's different than motivational, that's different than managing. But it's really not about the cause, it's not about a goal, it's really about creating intentional community in a group. So that's number 6, shepherding leadership. Have you, so far, we'll just take a pause here, we're a little over halfway. Have you identified your type? Go ahead and write it down as we get into number 7. This is team building leadership style. Team builders know how to take a vision, but they take it the next step. They understand that the vision that has been cast by a number 1 has to have people behind it to make it happen. And they're really good at building teams around a vision or a direction or a mission, and then able to put the right people in the right seats to make that thing a reality, to build a team. That's that's what they're driven by, and that's what they're good at. Number 7, team building. This is number 8, entrepreneurial leadership style. This is a style with a twist, and I'm reading here just a little bit to jog my memory. They might possess other leadership styles, but these leaders are interesting because they function optimally, this book says, in a startup mode. These are the kinds of people that are not happy unless there's something new, they're starting something new and developing and cutting edge, the entrepreneurial leadership style. This is kind of the Paul kind of leader, right? If I'm not building a church, then I'm not happy. Here's number 9, we're almost to the end, re-engineering leadership style. Now, while entrepreneurs prefer to start something new, this leadership style, re-engineering, are all about fixing what is old. They're very similar because they're looking to bring order out of chaos, but they thrive in that chaos. They thrive in the challenge of taking on this thing. So in re-engineering leadership, number 9, it's all about re-establishing what was once great, right? Make church great again, if you will, right? And so it's about figuring out where the old went wrong and making it new. This number 9, re-engineering. Re-engineering what was good and renewing the thing, whatever the mission or the vision of the organization is, re-engineering. This is number 10 and is the final one that Mr. Bill Hybels outlines, the bridge building leadership style. Now this one in particular is interesting because it's identified as being an umbrella leadership style, where you're able to take disparate groups and mash them and bring them together under one umbrella, under one cause. And that's what's great about bridge builders, number 10, bridge builders. They're able to take different demographics, they're able to take different ages and ethnicities and genders, and they're able to form them into teams and point them toward a shared vision or cause. So this guy says that there's more than just these, but these are the ones that I guess he had time to outline and really express, and that he felt strongly that they should be included in this book about courageous leadership. So I want you to take a second, maybe go back over them. I'm going to say them one more time, just for those of you, just to jog your memory. But try and narrow down maybe 2 or 3 that you are really jiving with, that you really feel drawn to immediately. And maybe continue to kind of cut that list down until you have maybe 2 or 3. If you can get it down to 1, that'd be awesome. But here we go. Number one, just to recap, number one, visionary leadership. Number two, directional leadership. Number three, strategic leadership. Number four, managing leadership. Number five, motivational leadership. Number six, shepherding leadership. Number seven, team building leadership. Number eight, entrepreneurial leadership. Number nine, re-engineering leadership. And last, number 10, bridge building leadership. So take a second and write 2 or 3 down that you really, really feel strongly that you gravitate towards. I'll share with you my 2, and they are number 1, visionary leadership, and number 5, I'm having a flip here, number 5, motivational leadership. And I think this because I feel strongly that, at least for me, I'm all about driving and putting blinders on and going deep into something, about casting a vision and then seeing it through until it becomes a reality, about being obsessive about one thing and go, and talk about it to everybody. I burn white hot for that one thing until it becomes a thing, and then you move on to the next thing. You vision out and you strategize for the next thing. And of course, number 5, because I feel very strongly about keeping people motivated and sending words of encouragement where needed and keeping a positive atmosphere. I think it's really important, especially for music ensembles, to incorporate motivation and to always stay positive in that environment, especially. Because if you're just a Debbie Downer, like, it's just going to be, eventually you're just going to have people who are done, they're burnt out, and there's nothing else you can do. There's no way, if you're not positive, to get them to be functioning at the highest levels. And so really living into that motivational leadership, I think, is important. So there are my top 2 that I think I really gravitate towards. We just had a staff meeting where we talked about this very thing, where we discussed the different styles, and we went around the room and at the church and just shared and breathed life into each other and talked about what we saw in them, what we thought were their strengths, and what were their strengths as far as leadership is concerned, what their gifts were. And that was really encouraging. But it was interesting because one of them, several people said, yes, I see 1, yes, I see 5, for you, for me, for Jared, right? But it was interesting to hear some of them say, you know what, I really think you might be a 3. And so for me to take a step back and try and be self-aware and go, okay, am I really a 3? Am I really, and that's of course strategic leadership. Am I really somebody who plans things out step by step by step and then jumps goal to goal? Yeah, maybe. And I definitely have those tendencies of thinking, of forward thinking, of thinking ahead and thinking through steps. But it was just interesting, and I think everyone can benefit from having a moment like that where you just take a moment and do some self-reflection and use that time and maybe ask somebody else, what do you think I'm good at? What do you think I'm strong in? Not because it's going to change your mind, right? Not because it's going to change your opinion of yourself. You don't need them to tell you good things about you in order to feel good about yourself. Like, that's not the point. But the point is to make sure that you're being self-aware. Maybe somebody sees something in you that you don't see in yourself, especially if you're running down this list and you're saying, no, I don't fit that, no, I don't fit that, no, and you're saying no to all 10, like you can't even find out one. I think this would be a very good exercise for you. So what do you do after you've narrowed down your leadership styles? What's the next step for you? I would say that the next step is after you identify your leadership style. I think that's number 1. Identify the style that fits you the most. And I think step 2, I've written some notes here for myself. Step 2, I think, is to determine whether or not that style fits the position that you're in. And if not, how do you more closely fit that leadership style to what you do? The next thing you're going to want to do if you're part of an organization is to do exactly what we did in staff here at the church. which is to outline everybody and see what their leadership styles are, what they're strong in, and try and make sure that we're matching people up and being self-aware about our positions, about what our strengths are, and really speaking some encouragement, you number fives, speaking some encouragement into and motivation into those people, and making sure that they feel affirmed that yes, God has called them to this thing, and yes, they are good at that. So that's number 3, identifying the leadership style of the people around you in your team. The last thing you need to do is both for yourself as well as for the rest of your team to commit to developing your strengths as well as improving your weaknesses. Not only identifying what you're strong at and going deep, that's what I'm all about, is going deep into one thing, focusing on one thing and getting great at it. But also on the back end to either augment your weaknesses by bringing somebody alongside you who is good. So take for example Moses. Moses was not a good speaker, and he implored God, at the bush, the voice of God. He said, look, I am not a guy who can speak to Pharaoh. So he brought along Aaron. God said, fine, I will give you an Aaron. I will give you a mouthpiece for you to talk. But here's what I'm going to need from you. Ba, 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 ba. So what Moses was able to do, instead of doing it himself and improving that leadership style, he just got somebody else to talk to the people. And so maybe you need to bring alongside an Aaron. Maybe your prayer for today is, Lord, send me an Aaron. Send me someone who is going to augment my weaknesses, who's going to fill in the gap there, whatever that may be. And then I guess the next thing that you need to do is go deep. Go deep into the thing that you're strong at. So you've got those 3, maybe 2 or 3 leadership styles that you really gravitate toward. And you're being self-aware and you're thinking, yes, I am this thing. I am visionary. I am shepherding. I am strategic. I am motivational. I am bridge building. Whatever it is, whatever number that is, going deep into that thing and maybe even narrowing it down further to one. Picking the one that either is aspirational for you or that you know that you're good at, but you could be better. And then just going all in on that one thing. I think that's going to be of great benefit to many people out there. If they could just pick a path and then see it through to the end, I think that'd be a powerful, powerful thing. And then living into that, finding a job, finding a career, finding a schooling path, whatever area of life you're in, finding something that's going to fulfill that leadership style, because you've got it in you. So that's all for today as far as leadership is concerned. And of course, you could probably pick up a copy of this book, Courageous Leadership, and read it with me. I'm an avid reader, and I read tons of books like you wouldn't believe. At the height of my reading career, I was reading 5 a week when I was in my master's program for conducting. I was honestly 5 a week. It was almost 1 a day. And so I read a lot. This is just one of many that I've read within the past week or so. And so rolling through this book on leadership is helping me to improve the way that I'm able to articulate leadership. And I hope that it's brought you some value as well. Of course, if you like this video, hit that like button, and happy VLOGtober. Subscribe if you are enjoying the content, and tune in for the rest of VLOGtober, where I try and bring you a video once a day. It's scary, but this is day 3, signing off. So anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day, a wonderful October, and we'll see you tomorrow. Go in peace.